Hi, I'm Melissa Collarette, life coach, inspiring and empowering you to live a life that you love. Have you been putting off a dream vacation for years now? Are some of your fondest memories spent traveling or maybe by the ocean? And have you felt the most alive when you spent time abroad? If you said yes to any of these questions, you have to meet the super couple, Geremi, Vespa, and Catherine Côté. They've just come back from a year-long trip around the world, spending most of their time in Africa and Asia. So Geremi and Catherine, thank you so much for spending some time with me today.
No problem.
So I'm so fascinated by what you guys have just done. I spent some time checking you guys out on Facebook, and we went to university together. And I wanted to, find out more about this trip that you took, because obviously it's a huge endeavor to leave for a year and leave your life behind to go explore. So first of all, I'd love to know what inspired you guys to go on a year-long trip.
I guess I really wanted to leave for a year. Geremi didn't necessarily want to go for a full year, but it had been like a big dream of mine to go traveling for a year. I had done like longer travels for like 3-4 months before, but it was like a big project for me. I really wanted to go travel for a full year, and so I kind of started talking to Geremi about it. And then at one point I was like, okay, this is it, like we have to do it now.
Yeah, get out of the routine. I think that's always nice after, when you're working for so long, you get in a routine and you just feel like you can't, you don't have much time to do anything that you want, and whether you have a week of holidays, 2 weeks holidays, you don't get much done and you don't get to really explore. So it's fun to, to get out of that routine and, go for a long time.
Yeah. And what did you guys have to put in place before leaving? Like you said, you were working for companies, you guys were established in your careers. So what did you have to do before leaving to be able to go?
Save money.
Save money, yeah, good.
No, we probably for about 2 years planned it. So we, made sure we saved money every month, put money aside.
Yep.
Career-wise, make sure, because I had just started working at, we'd started talking about the trip probably like 2 years ago, and she would have left, I guess, after a year and would have been ready to go, whereas for me, I just started working at my company.
Right.
So I wanted to make sure that, I had enough experience under my belt that should I not come back to that company, my CV would look okay and I would be able to find another job.
Yeah. And I love that, like you were saying, that you had that 2-year time frame, because I think a lot of the clients I work with who want to go traveling, and we're in this society where it's all about immediate gratification and getting things done right away, and practicing that discipline of putting money away every month, and then showing up for your work so that when you leave you're in a good position. So I think that's really cool that you touch upon that it's not just instant gratification, and that it's something you guys work towards.
As much as it's traveling spontaneous, you still have to plan it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just, you can't just, like you say, you can't just turn around and say, oh, I'm going to travel tomorrow, because what are you going to come back to? And you don't want to come back, you're going to have your whole life in disarray, and start at ground one, find a new job, find a new place to stay. Well, that's probably a big stress. And I know some people, you do meet traveling. I mean, it depends what age you're at too. If you just come out of university, fine, you can do it and you go back to live with your parents for a while. But if that's not something you want to do, well, you probably have to plan a bit more.
I love it. And what are some of the things, because we're like, traveling looks so glamorous, and people probably look up to you guys for having done it, but there's probably a lot of challenges that come along the way of being in a routine that you establish as you're traveling, because it's part of your reality. So what are some of those obstacles or challenges that you face that you had to overcome while you're abroad?
It's kind of like everything in life, once you do too much of something, it becomes not as fun anymore. And so yes, traveling can become routine, and after 6 months we kind of had a big down, because you're just like sick of living out of a backpack and having to change place all the time and not having a routine and going to the same places all the time. Like, it's something every guest you need to do.
Yeah.
And so you need to, you just kind of need to change your plan around. And so we decided, okay, we'll stay in one place for 1 month and just kind of unpacked our bags and stayed and surfed every day, and had the same, had friends, ate at the same places, just kind of and that felt really good for a month. But it's definitely a challenge, because you need it.
Yeah, I think you need to be honest with yourself and kind of really do what you want to do, and don't just travel because you want to tick off all the boxes of I saw this, I saw that, I saw that, and I think at the beginning you do that, so you you know, you look at the guidebook, oh, that looks awesome, I'll go do that. But then eventually you get tired of doing that, and like the whole example of like once you've seen one temple, you've seen them all. But yeah, I mean, it's not the case always, but eventually you get sick of kind of just doing the tourist thing. So you start to be honest with yourself and say, okay, what do I actually want to do in this year? What do I want to do travel-wise? What do I enjoy the most? And then you focus your time more on that. And that's what you're saying about the surfing. Like we both really got into it, and it was just a fun activity to focus on.
I think that's great that you speak a bit about how like it's relatable to everyday life, and not just going through life about checking off those boxes and focusing on something. And then what I love the most is about doing what you really want and focusing on that rather than spreading yourself thin. Just focused on the teacher training and surfing.
Or you think you should be doing.
Yeah, exactly. Like, this should, right? I should want to travel for a year. Not everyone does.
I should be seeing that.
Right.
You know.
But that's what happens when you travel, when you go to a country, right? You're like, oh, well, I should see this and that, and then, you know, do this. But then when you travel for a long time, that's when you said you can't lie to yourself. Like, otherwise you're just miserable.
You know, everything's got something that they're passionate about. So I think you have more time to develop that. And just, you know, go with
I think that's great, because with my clients, it's often something I talk about, of stopping to do the things you should be doing or think you should be doing, and focus more on what really makes you come alive, what makes you excited, and spend more time doing that, because then you kind of bounce back and get excited again.
And that's applicable whether you're in, you know, everyday life here or you're traveling. I think it's always the same. It's hard.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things you think you should be doing, but
I think it's especially hard when you're at home, because there's a lot of distractions and there's a lot of pressure from, like, you know, what you should be doing. But when you're traveling, it's just you, and so you kind of need to make these decisions yourself, and that's when you really know what's important for you.
Yeah. And what are some tips that you could share with people who are thinking of going on an extended vacation or a trip, or just want to start traveling again? You know, a lot of people start traveling when they stop for whatever reason. What are a few tips that you applied yourself that, or you would want others to apply, that you might know?
I mean, planning. I think you have to make a plan and see, you know, where you want to go, how long you want to do it for, and how you're going to integrate it into your normal life.
Really want it. Like, you know, if you really want something, you know, a lot of people tell us, oh, you're so lucky.
Right.
And we're like, yeah, we're lucky, but we made it happen, you know? Like, a lot of people want to do it, but they just don't make it happen. Like, we're not, you know, we're not millionaires.
Yeah.
We just have, like, two, very good jobs, but not, like, you know, and we saved money, and we found ways to, like, you know, not live, like, an apartment that's not that expensive, and so we're able to save money every month. So, yeah, I wouldn't say we're lucky, we just kind of make it.
You made it.
And it worked out, but we were stressed. Like, I remember, you know, before quitting my job, like, that was a big thing. You know, I really liked my job, and I had, you know, there were positions that were opening when I was leaving, so I could have applied and had, like, I could have had a bigger job, you know. But and it was stressful. Like, I remember being stressed. You know, we didn't know if our employers would react the way they did. You know, not everyone thinks that traveling is a great thing. In our case, I guess they saw it as a leadership move. But that's very lucky, because you know, a lot of employers wouldn't. So
I love that. Great. Well, thank you so much for sharing your experience, and I think that's really valuable for everyone who's been watching to know how to go about it. So if you need some support in planning your dream destination or taking that extended trip that you've been thinking about for so long, book a session with me, and we can get you started to really hash out your plans so you can start saving that money and talking to your employer so you can get your job back when you come back. So I'm Melissa Collerette, life coach, inspiring and empowering you to live a life that you love. If you've liked this video, like it, leave a comment below, and share it with your friends. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day. Bye.